Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing here on Saturday, the 8th of August. And in the news this morning, Warriors keep top 8 hopes alive. England fight back against Pakistan. Belashina climb off bottom of the table. Sports Hub in Wellington gets the green light. A big win for the Southern Steel. Southern Steel, wasn't it? Yes, overnight. And so much more. This is your best way to start the day up to speed with all the important sports news. And starting off with that football news. And yes, heading over to the Belarusian Premier League, the league that kept going all the way through lockdown. And overnight, Belashina beat Sluts 4-2, as well as Shakhtar beats Dynamo Brest 1-0, and Verbetsk came up short at home against Izhlosh 2-3. That means that Belashina climbs off the bottom of the table above Smolovich by 2 points. Now, they have played 2 more games, but this is the first time since we've been following this, I think, that Belashina has been off the bottom of the table. So massive congratulations to them there. Shakhtar still holds a 6-point lead at the top of the table with that win over Dynamo Brest. Bate will play Gorodea later this weekend to try and close that gap, as will and Naimon Gordon will be away to Energex, who are going through a bad run of form after topping the table earlier in the season. Moving on then to the moving back here to the A League, and Western United beats West Sydney Wanderers 5-3 last night. That's an important one for them, as that means that Western United climb up to 7th in the table, 1 place outside the final series, but they have 2 games in hand over Adelaide United and trail them by just 2 points. So all tight there. Sydney FC will finish top of the table. Melbourne City, well, Wellington Phoenix and Brisbane Roar have also qualified for the finals series as well. Just 2 places left up for grabs at the moment. Moving on then to the cricket news. And England's tail wagged a bit to mean that England finished on 219 in their first innings to trail Pakistan by just over 100 runs. In the second innings, though, England's bowlers really have stepped up, and Pakistan is 137 for 8. None of the batsmen have managed to get over 30 runs there. Broad has picked up a couple, so has Woke, and we've seen Stokes actually turn his arm over as well. He bowled 4 overs, 1 maiden, 11 runs for 2 wickets. So, good. He definitely chipped in with a couple there. So, yes, really intriguing test match. It's clearly going to be a result. We've only got 2 days left. We've got 2 full days left of play to go. So we're going to have a result there either way, whether it's going. But yes, definitely England will have a target to chase, but they'll have to do better than they did in their first innings. I'm going to hand you over to Stephen now. He's going to take us through our birthdays.
Yeah, thank you, Paul, and good morning, everybody, to tuning into New Zealand Sport Radio. Well, it's the start of the weekend, but the birthdays keep rolling. And in those birthdays this morning, he's not just the premier batsman in New Zealand, he's one of the best batsmen in the world. We also look at a Tongan-born hooker who plays for the Chiefs. And finally, a Black Fern who won the 2010 Women's Rugby World Cup, and that's where we start this morning. Huriana Manuel, born this day, the 8th of August 1986, is a former New Zealand rugby union player. She played for the Black Ferns. She also played for Auckland. Manuel was part of the Black Ferns squad that won the 2010 Rugby World Cup and the Sevens Rugby World Cup as well in 2009. Of Māori descent, Manuel affiliates to the Ngāti Tūwharetoa and Ngāpui Iwi. Moving right along, Samasoni Takiaho, born this day, the 8th of August 1997, is a Tongan rugby union player who plays for the Chiefs. He was born in Tonga. He was spotted in their under-15s in 2014 and moved to St. Paul's Collegiate in Hamilton on an international scholarship. And finally, Kane Williamson, born this day, August 1990, is a New Zealand cricketer who is currently the captain of the New Zealand cricket team in all formats. He made his full-time debut as the New Zealand captain as the 2016 ICC World 2020 in India. He captained the New Zealand national team in 2019 World Cup and led the team to the finals, losing to England in the Super Over. Do we really want to talk about that? He was, however, awarded the player of the tournament. I'll be back with league news very shortly.
Thank you very much, Stephen, for that. For those birthdays, let's hope they all have a wonderful day today and have a lovely cake to celebrate with their birthday. Moving on then to the netball, and yes, the first game back down there in Invercargill, and the Steel saw off the Mystics 51-47. A really impressive game. It only sounds like a 4-point win, but in reality, they dominated this one from the start. The Mystics never led in this game. The Steel went out, pulled out a small lead, but really towards the end of the first quarter, pulled out a big lead and won the first quarter 17-8. So a 9-point lead there, and they never really looked back from that. The Mystics closed things up in the fourth quarter, but it was all far too little, too late, and the Steel got the win there. The Steel have to back it up tonight, and they play the Pulse, top of the table Pulse, who lost their first game last weekend. So on looking to bounce back from that. So it's going to be a tough game for the Steel tonight. But that sees the Southern Steel narrow the gap to the Northern Stars so Southern Steel currently in 5th place. Now the gap to 4th place to just 2 points. So it's a real tough game this evening. Moving on to rugby news, and we are going to see the bus is going to pull out of the out of the car park, as Stephen said, but he is going to be playing for Oriental Rongotia against Pocono down in Wellington. He's going to play his first club rugby game this season, and I see Stephen coming off the microphone. So was that a poor pronunciation by me of the team there?
It wasn't. It was shocking. That
shocking.
Was,
okay, sorry, folks. So yes,
Oriental Rongotai and Puneke.
Thank you very much for that.
The two sides. Yeah, no problems.
So that's the game that Julian will be playing in today. He's actually going to be playing in the 12 jersey. So interesting to see if he's going to be, thought of it as more of a centre on his return from Europe. He still hasn't declared which team he'll be playing for in the Mitre 10 Cup. Will it be Wellington or a bit of a surprise there? Will it be North Harbour? Because Julian, I think, lives up in Auckland now, and hence why North Harbour might be an option for him to be with, basically be close to his family during the season. So interesting one there. We'll see where he signs. Over in Super Rugby AU, the Rebels and Brumbies fought out a wet game and it wasn't in Melbourne, it was in Sydney, because of the coronavirus issues over there. Rebels really dominated the first half, pulled out to a 27-7 lead, and in the second half basically shut up shop and just didn't allow the Brumbies to get back into it. It finished 30-7. Impressive performance there by the Rebels. A big upset, as the Brumbies are the favourites to win Super Rugby AU this season. Don't forget, this evening we have a Super Rugby. Aotearoa is back with a game this evening. I've gone blank as to what the game is, folks. Yeah, Hurricanes versus the Chiefs this evening at 7 p.m, followed up by the Waratahs versus the Reds. And then tomorrow, it's the Crusaders versus the Highlanders at 3:30. The Crusaders could seal the title then. I'm going to hand you back to Stephen now, who's going to take us through our NRL update.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. In league news this morning, the Warriors keep their top hope eight alive. In the other game, we have the Rabbitohs far too good for the Broncos, and we'll preview the Saturday games happening in the NRL today. But we'll start with the Warriors, who recorded a 5-try victory. Patrick Herbert picking up 2 tries in a 26 points to 22 victory over the Seagulls after they led by 20 points to 10 at half-time. It was a good performance from the Warriors in wet conditions. It was a wild old night in Sydney last night, but the Warriors started the best possible way with an early try to Patrick Herbert in the 5th minute, and added another 3 tries in the first half to Katoa, Jennings, and of course Patrick Herbert grabbing his second try just on the 40-minute mark of half-time to lead by 20 points to 10. In the second half, Peter Hiku added a try, and the Warriors led by 26 points to 10, but basically had to watch in with a little bit of nervousness as Manly hit back in the last 20 minutes to close it up to 26-22, and some great goal line defence pretty much held the Manly Sea Eagles out. So a very good win to the Warriors, 26 points to 22. In the other game played last night, the South Sydney Rabbitohs were far too strong for the Brisbane Broncos by 28 points to 10 after they led by 20 points to 6 at half time. So a very good win for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and that keeps them very, very close, or if not in that top 8. We look out for games today. We've got 3 games on a triple header. Saturday at the Sunshine Coast up in Kawana Waters. At 5 o'clock today, the Storm take on the Bulldogs. And our second game from McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. Newcastle hoping to bounce back against the West Tigers. That kickoff is at 7:30 p.m. And rounding off all those Saturday games, the Panthers take on the Raiders, and that's at 9:35 p.m. this evening. Just a reminder, we'll also have some Super League action from overnight. That's actually tonight, where once again the full round of the Betfred Super League recommences. Remembering last week we had those 2 games. Remember that wonderful game last week for Huddersfield versus Leeds. So have a great day, everybody. I will be out and about today. In fact, I'll be at the Ponsonby Marist game at Western Springs. I think it is today, 2:45 kickoff. Get along. Remember, this is a repeat of last year's final, so it should be a cracker. Remembering it's just the first 2 teams that go through to the final this year, and not too many rounds left.
Absolutely, and Stephen will be at that game, whilst I will be at Eden versus Papitoto. If you're going to be at either of those games, do come over and say hi, and keep an eye on our Facebook page for post-match interviews and other coverage from those games. Moving on then, and down in Wellington, the Sports Hub has been given the green light as one of the shovel-ready projects. It's getting funding from the New Zealand government to go ahead. This is, if you want to know more about the Sports Hub, I had an interview with Jamie Tout from the long on the long talk. So you can go back and watch that or listen to that video. If you want to listen to that interview, if you want to listen, just download iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Acast, and search for New Zealand Sports Radio, and you can listen to us on the move. That Sports Hub is going to be the base for the Wellington Phoenix, Wellington Rugby, Baseball New Zealand, and other visiting sports teams. So yes, it's when it's a sports hub, it's a multi-sports hub to provide for all of those things. A fantastic facility that they're setting up down there. Moving on into the NBA, and the Thunder will be taking on the Grizzlies, and that starts at 8 a.m. this morning. I'll keep you up to date tomorrow with how Steve Adams' team goes there. Over in the Formula One, and Sergio Perez has tested positive again for coronavirus, so he'll miss the 70th anniversary Grand Prix this weekend. Nico Hulkenberg will stand in yet again. He didn't get to race last time due to mechanical issues just before the race in Silverstone, but he will be there this weekend at Silverstone. Again, in practice, the Mercedes have been going well, and you've got to say, it looks like another good race for them is in order. Over in the PGA Golf, and Danny Lee is currently tied 35 after the first round. He will be out on the course at 8:53 a.m. This morning, New Zealand time. Other players are already out on the course for the second round. So good luck to Danny in his in that tournament. And in the US Open, Alina Svitolina and Kiki Bertens have pulled out of the event. That means now that the number one seed, the world number 1, 5, and 7 from the women's tour have all pulled out of the event, and it's expected that world number 2 will also be missing. Will also pull out from that on the women's side. On the men's side, so far, Rafa Nadal has not entered the event, and Roger Federer is absent, injured. They're the only people who have pulled out so far. Top order players so far for the event. But yes, we'll see how it's still scheduled to begin on the 31st of August. Clearly behind closed doors over there in the USA. You have now started the day the best way, up to speed with all the important sports news. We'll be back here on New Zealand Sports Radio at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning to help you to start your day the best way.